Hey guys, this is Degn Cast, a podcast by trenches for trenches. I'm your host Jack, and today I have the wonderful Pigi from the project Taiko.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure to be here. Very excited. Congrats on this new adventure. I think very exciting. I think it's good for the industry to have new voices and good content overall. So kudos to you. Yeah, my name is Pier Giacomo. I go by PG. I'm head of gaming at Taiko Labs. Taiko is a based roll-up. Is the first based roll-up in production and the only one that is live today on mainnet. We launched the network back in April last year. We've been kind of pioneering this new concept of based roll-ups that has become a little bit more prominent in the past few weeks, I would say, with the likes of Vitalik coming out, benefits of base rollups, and not only him, I would say overall the greater Ethereum community is kind of like aligning on this new concept together with another new concept that is the one of native rollups, but that's a separate conversation, I guess. What being based means is that we do not run a single sequencer, but we kind of like use Ethereum L1 validators for sequencing. Hence, we inherit all the good properties of Ethereum, like decentralization, liveness, security. Unfortunately, at the current stage, we also inherit block finality, which of course is subpar, but I think blockchain is all about making trade-offs, and the trade-off we chose to make was this one. So sacrificing a little bit on the UX side in the beginning, but to favor, again, all the other properties that, in my mind, in the mind of others, and I would argue it should be in the mind of most people in this industry, are the reason why we're doing blockchains, right? Because otherwise we might as well just go.
We're here to we're here really to solve issues, right? We're here to solve issues for the end user. A few of the most important ones are speed and price, right? If we can get those things solved, we're basically 80% there, right? Like you said, finality is still something Taiko's working on. Anything big upcoming for Taiko?
And
Anything
precisely.
crazy cool for communities?
Yeah, precisely on that side, we are testing right now what we call pre-confirmation, and this will enable sub-second finality on Taiko. So we're also fixing the UX side of things, which, by the way, only pertains to speed, because transacting on Taiko is still very cheap. So on the UX side, we already solved the gas issues that, of course, has been one of the biggest hurdles for Ethereum to scale. But, on Taiko is already very cheap to transact, and it's going to become as fast as, if not faster than other chains. So we're very excited for that. We recently rolled out a new mainnet. We called it Alethea, and it's kind of like setting the stage for when pre-confirmations will come. So yeah, that's very exciting, and especially for me as head of gaming, because of course this will open up a whole lot of new possibilities and use cases with games.
We met on gaming projects, and we understand that gaming requires speed, right?
Yes,
that's
sir.
the first and foremost. Really, that's really important. And the advent of things like AI, right? Advent of agents that would combine gaming and stuff. It would put a lot of extra pressure on a chain. So what is Taiko Takeoff, right? Something that is up and coming, right?
Big
So it
question.
will be wonderful to kind of expand on that.
Yep. So Taiko Takeoff is a program we recently launched. It's pretty much a way to incentivize and support new projects up and coming on Taiko that are launching their token natively on Taiko. So from our side, we want to make sure that we ensure the success of these tokens. We want to make sure that we pass on the benefit and the upside to the community. So the message is by being a Taiko holder, you can get access to new opportunities within the ecosystem. And also, we've been there with TGED, and it's a hell of a job. So also, on top of financial support, we also bring in other type of support on the strategy side, on the access side, when it comes to listing and things like that, that's a whole different beast. And of course, like on the marketing side and community activation. So yeah, this program is at its infancy, but we already had like one project that participated, and it's Avalon, which TG'd literally this week. It's good. We're testing things out. The first test was good, I would say. So we take it from there. We learn it. We understand how to better work with teams. So that's kind of like the gist of it. And we put out a blog post, and we'll definitely put out more material for people to kind of like understand how to go about it, how to get involved, and of course also being open and public and reachable to the ecosystem. That's another big factor.
Now, because the advent of AI and stuff, I can't, I just have to ask, what's Taiko doing on the front of AI agents and memes and just general all this success? What would that be like on Taiko, and what's Taiko doing that would kind of enable that vision for people to use Taiko?
There's been a lot of of course, as everything in crypto, a lot of hype around agents. But personally, for the first time in a long time, I got really excited about some of the implications of this. And I think this spills over. And it's not just because of blockchains. I think overall this is just gonna shift completely how we operate as humans, how we work and such. And for blockchain specifically, I think this is kind of like a natural marriage, because a lot of the things and the actions that we do today on chain are very laborious, I would say. Even if you take something like DeFi, it's not easy even for degens at the end of the day. I'm not only talking about the UX side of things in terms of how many clicks you have to do before providing liquidity to a certain pool to get some certain yield, right? But it's also about the amount of opportunities that are out there. It's literally impossible unless you're always 24/7 online, and even then to kind of capture the best yield opportunities, the best incentive campaigns that come out. There are so many chains, so many ecosystems, so many new DeFi protocols that I think having something that autonomously do these things for you, I think it's a game changer. There's this new trend called DeFi AI, which is, I think, again, a natural mashup of the two things and the natural evolution of DeFi. With that said, on the Taiko side, we recently integrated the ELISA framework. So now devs that are working and playing around with ELISA OS, which is one of the leading kind of Web3 agents framework out there, can also do it on Taiko. We are working to ensure that this is possible across the board with other frameworks. And I think this is also another piece of beauty of all of this, is that this whole new movement kind of came out of the as a tangent of open source software development, as many of these core builders actually didn't come from crypto but came from open source AI, machine learning, or open source in general, which is one of the pillars of blockchains at the end of the day. So the beauty of it is that with ELISA, for example, we just submitted a PR with a plugin, and then it got merged. So it's it's permission. Nice. We don't have to go and strike a deal with ELISA AI16Z. So I think that's another really exciting point. On the meme side, I guess one of the most meaningful things is that Taiko is supported by the likes of Deck Screener. Unfortunately, we haven't seen a big spark on the meme side of things for a couple of reasons. The first one is, again, going back to the UX. Meme coins are one of the use cases where you have to have really fast finality because of certain mechanics, which might be good or bad, depends on how you see it. But things like sniping, just high frequency trading overall, which is kind of the bread and butter of trading meme coins at the end of the day. There's so many new tokens being launched every day that you have to have that speed. So once again pre-confirmations come in, then we're gonna be very well positioned to attract that. And on the other side, also on the liquidity side, we're working to have deeper liquidity on Taiko protocols, like on the DeFi side, because that of course is another like core requirement, I would say. We're not doing so bad on TVL. There's still a lot of room for improvement, of course, but for being a new chain, I think we're doing pretty well, and it's kind of like in our ethos not to just throw away a bunch of money to attract TVL that is not gonna stay there. Our goal is to enable sticky TVL, which is of course something that takes time, but little by little, we're building on top of like month by month. So I think that's very important, and we're getting there. So I'm very excited about this. Like again, what's gonna be possible in a few months, and again, like being so early, I think is a lot of upside, both to the community, but also to ecosystem builders that might be looking for a new home or a new ecosystem to thrive, and not being kind of like in a red ocean where it's very hard to emerge. So yeah, I think Taiko can be a very attractive place to kind of like nurture all of this. So again,
That's
very excited
wonderful.
for the next few months.
Yeah. As a trencher myself, we always like to find places where we can park our money, right? We want to park our money and kind of make yields, right? Because the best way is to make money from money, right? Everybody wants to retire that way. Any cool new kind of staking opportunities, maybe on Taiko, or
Yeah,
kind of
well,
TVL incentives, maybe?
I'm glad you asked. We recently launched a few initiatives with some of the core protocols that we have. There's some very juicy yield on Curve right now, even on stables, that I recommend people go check out and farm. Of course, Curve being one of the OGs and one of the most trusted protocols in the industry. So it's cool to be working with them and to have their support. But also on the likes of Taiko and Unagi, those are kind of like other two partners that we're working with. And there are some very cool opportunities there as well to check out. And also, I guess this can be a good segue into an additional layer of incentives, which is what we call Trailblazers, which is kind of like our mainnet incentive program. So for users, on top of like getting all this yield, Trailblazers is designed to reward people that use dApps on the Taiko ecosystem. It works kind of like as a gamifying the ecosystem. So we run it in seasons as kind of like thinking of like Call of Duty seasons or something, and by interacting with different protocols, being that DeFi gaming, other verticals, that they can earn experience points, they can level up, and based on the level they're at the end of the season, we take a snapshot and they can get some Taiko tokens. So that's been working pretty well. The community is overall happy. There's been some hiccups, I'm not gonna lie, but these things are very hard. It's one of the very hard things to really get properly, but I think so far so good. And also the numbers show that we've been constantly since launch like top 5 L2s by active users, transactions, and such. So it's another additional layer of incentives on top of, again, like these yield opportunities. So nothing crazy in terms of like what needs to be done on the onboarding side. Users can just like log in with their wallet, check out the apps that are available, interact with them, and start earning points.
Amazing. You've heard it, people. Trailblazer. How many seasons is that now for Trailblazer?
We're about to wrap up season 3.
Oh, exciting.
And then start season 4 right away. And
What
it's
date? What date is season 4? Just let people know.
it's gonna be March 18. We ran it for a quarter, so 3 months. Yeah, very excited to see the continuation of this program.
What will be the roadmap for your next, I don't know, 6 to 12 months? Like pushing
We
past
have
what you
a
see today.
few cool things in the pipeline. First and foremost, we're working on a DAO.
Nice.
We truly believe in the ethos of Ethereum. That's again why we chose the based approach, which is honestly not the most direct one and not the most profitable one in the short term, not the easiest one to attract users, but we believe is the right one in the long term to properly scale Ethereum. And the whole team and especially our co-founders and especially our CEO, who's an OG Ethereum truly believes in this ethos. So with that said, having a DAO decentralizing the decision-making power and ensuring that the community can get more involved in how the protocols get governed, how the ecosystem can be supported, is definitely like a stepping stone. So yeah, we're working with Aragon on this. One of the OGs kind of like DAO infrastructure providers. So we're currently testing the DAO out, and so far so good. We're onboarding security council members, core contributors. It's a whole process, but we're working hard on that, and I think it's very exciting for the future of Taiko. On other initiatives and other things, we're about to embark on a US tour, so we're gonna be at ETH Denver. If there's anybody in the audience that is gonna be there, feel free to check out our side event to meet us, to get some of this cool pink swag, and just for a fun night. And we're also hosting a based rollup summit for ETH SF with a bunch of core Ethereum developers. Vitalik is gonna be there as well. We're still like finalizing some of the speakers, but it's gonna be a pretty cool time. I think right time also for what's going on in the industry, what's going on in the US, and with SF kind of like being the epicenter of AI, and still with a lot of like crypto devs and crypto teams there. So that's gonna be exciting on kind of like the event community side of things. We also recently announced a partnership with Open Zeppelin to build a based stack to pretty much like empower other builders to easily spin up their own based rollup. We're the first one to build it, but we truly believe that this is the right approach. So we want to make sure that as many rollups as possible become based, and to do so, of course, like building the proper infrastructure is key. And overall, for ecosystem and community, we're working hard on like onboarding new partners, having also like more early stage and native projects. So we're also gonna be hosting. We did the first hackathon. Kind of like end of last year. We're most likely gonna do another one probably after the US tour, because organizing these events is a lot of work. But yeah, so that's gonna be another way for devs to get involved, to start building on Taiko. And one thing that I should have mentioned at the beginning, Taiko is a type 1 rollup. What that means is that we're fully Ethereum equivalent, so it's very easy for EVM builders to just get started on Taiko. The onboarding is pretty straightforward. There's minimal hurdles in terms of like getting started. If you're already familiar with the EVM landscape, with building on Ethereum, building on Taiko is super straightforward. So yeah, that's it's kind of like, few of the things we're cooking. Of course, there's much more, but I think these are kind of like some of the key points.
Amazing. Just one question. Any grants available for developers at the moment?
Yes, sir. We do have a grant program. I'd encourage people in the audience to reach out, even in DMs. We have a framework of what we like to see in terms of metrics. We're pretty conservative team when it comes to like spending money, I would say. We always want to make sure that we get as much value as possible without, pardon my French, pissing away money, which has happened a lot in this industry, I would say. And we want to make sure we align with the right teams in the proper structures. Again, recommendation is to reach out to core team members. We're more than happy to support you on drafting the application. Of course, the portal is open, so you feel free to go and apply. But yeah, definitely that's on the table. We also have an ecosystem fund where we write checks for equity and tokens. So that's another avenue. But yeah, these are all opportunities that are available right now.
So what other interesting tidbits that you have for Taiko?
For Taiko, no, I guess I keep an eye on like all announcements. We have a few games that are gonna be launching in the next few months, so that's also exciting, of course, for me. I guess like on Taiko side, just get involved, hop in the Discord, be active on Twitter, especially if you're interested in technical conversations. around the future of Ethereum, around like how the community and the ecosystem is evolving. This is definitely a right time to get involved, do some studies, get up to speed. One other thing that I forgot to mention, we have internally, I would say, a sub-team that is working on, I don't want to call it a separate project because it's very much so complementary to what we're doing, but they're building something called Gwyneth. This is more like medium long term, although they already started testing some stuff. And what Gwyneth basically enables is synchronous composability between L1 and L2s and L2s together. This is a game changer.
I think we'll do another episode on that when it comes
Absolutely, and
out.
definitely,
Okay.
yeah, I get you one of my colleagues that is working on that because, and they're all engineers, so it can get very technical, but I think it's really cool. Also because it's solving one of the biggest issues of Ethereum, which is fragmentation across all these multiple L. And I think it's again like, and it goes hand in hand with being based, right? So that's very exciting, and that's why I said like it's the work they're doing is complementary to what Taiko is doing overall. So that's another very very exciting milestone that we have in the pipeline.
I would like to hear your view on the whole market right now. I mean, what's your view on like the Trump token and the meme coin craziness? Like, what's your view on that whole thing? Like, I would love to hear your perspective on the market right now. It's what a time to be alive, right? Such
It is.
craziness.
It's always been. I mean, I've been in this industry for quite some time since late 2016, early 2017. When I started doing my first things on chain, and it's been so much. Literally, I remember like staying up all night looking at Luna crashing. So that every year there's something new
Me
happening,
and you, friend. Me
which
and
is
you, friend.
fun. I think the Trump token was great for the industry, despite of maybe some people might think differently. I definitely about Melania, I guess. The reason I'm saying this is because I think the Trump launch proved one of the key use cases of this industry, which we all often forget, which has been the case since the ICO times, which is crypto enables people to raise capital at lightning speed and for personal reasons. What then? This might sound pretty obvious for degens and people that have been around for some time, but trust me, it's not obvious for 95% of people out there, probably even more. Why? Because people are used to the traditional route of venture capitalism and private security sales, and then you go to the public market, and that's how you continue raising money if you have to raise money. And I mean, not even that. Like, I'm Italian, like the VC culture here is pretty much non-existent, even taking it broadly to Europe. Although we've seen like the European Commission recently starting to really like sounding the alarm and saying we gotta ensure we invest in European companies, we gotta make sure that we unlock private capital, but this has not been the case for decades. And I used to live in the US, so I literally saw firsthand the difference between like the culture. It's not even about like just the laws, it's literally about the culture, right? Like what people talk about. Like if you go in the US, everybody's like super excited about innovation, investing, startups and stuff. You come to Europe, everybody talks about football, which is fun, don't get me wrong, but there's a culture shift that needs to happen in Europe. And going back to Trump, the reason why I started this whole discussion is because with the president of the United States launching a token and raising so much
Unheard
money.
of. It's just unheard of. It's like,
Yeah, unheard of, right? And that sends a signal to the average boomer. It's like, oh, what the fuck is this? Like, this guy can
and do you
raise
know what's
money.
crazy? Do you know what's crazy? There was a liquidity suck, right? When it launched, everything else dumped. Like like
Yeah.
even Bitcoin dumped because everyone's trying to pull their money
Hmm.
from there. So it showed something that I find quite scary is there is a limit to how much liquidity there is in the whole damn space, right?
Yeah.
If a token is popular enough, it can make everything else dump.
Yeah.
That's never happened before in the
Yeah.
space. Well, I don't think I've
That's
seen
very true.
anything happen. Even when big, huge project launch back in the day, there was never really a liquidity suck like this.
You're not wrong. I don't think it's the end of the world. There's so much more liquidity to get on board. Like the forex market, which is the market for like currencies, is literally
Yeah, it's a
like
couple
I
trillion,
think
right?
one
It's a couple
quadrillion
trillion.
dollars. Like
Yeah, yeah,
we're a
yeah.
drop in the water. Like so, there's much more, and that also segue into like your second question, which was around meme coins, which of course is very tangential to Trump. I'm more scared about like meme coins than something like Trump. The reason being is these meme coins are literally pure speculation. Apart from like there are some cool projects that are trying to build a community and get people together and all of that, which is cool. But at the end of the day, these tokens suck up liquidity and attention from actual like serious projects, which is I guess natural evolution of the space, which is okay. I remember like back in the ICO days, people were just throwing like millions of dollars of like shitty white papers and a website. So I don't see much difference, but I think that definitely sucked out a lot of the liquidity that would have gotten otherwise into altcoins, right? That's probably why we have yet to see like a real alt season. And I'm honestly not sure if we're gonna see it in full. Hopefully, because there's a lot of like great projects out there that deserve a rally rather than like a cat token. And also another thing about meme coins is that you never like it's literally gambling at the end of the day, so you don't know who's behind it. You
Yeah.
can make some money, you might not if you lose it. And you saw even like the White House came out, what was David Sachs said like if in a statement like if you're buying like this type of securities and engaging in this type of trading, we're not gonna come and save you. It's just kind of, which honestly fair, because like first of all, how do you enforce something like this when there's like hundreds of thousands of tokens launching every day? And second of all, like even if you do that, there's no way you can gatekeep it without literally censoring, which is not, I guess, what the administration
But it's
wants.
just so crazy, isn't it? When
It is.
the president launches a token, right? People are like, so it must be completely legal because because like, it's like he's the one that sets all the rules. He's the
Yep.
one that I mean, even CoffeeZilla, the really famous kind of detective, he's just like, what is going on? Like
I
I've
mean,
been
we
fighting against these things, and the president does it. The
I
president,
know.
he's like above everything. Like, what do you do to that when the king or
It's
the
Wild West.
emperor does it, right?
It's pretty much says go enjoy yourselves. It's Wild West, so definitely out there be cautious. You can make money, you can lose money. Just make sure that you are okay with it, and that I don't want to even say invest. You do not gamble more than you can afford to lose. We've seen 4 years of like supposedly strict rules and enforcement, which led to nothing because the SEC didn't even persecute. Like there's, even if you look at like NFTs, there's so many like scammy collections that were not persecuted. And I always give this example because I'm a holder and I got fucked of this collection that is called Stoner's Cat. Was one
Yeah.
of the early like NFT collections, and it was cool because you had the NFT and you could watch. They would like drop one episode every week of this like cartoon about this like old lady living with cats that gets high and goes on to this trip discovering crypto and such.
Yeah.
And they had like Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, Jay Fonda, and even Vitalik in the series. And the SEC sued them
That's
for
crazy.
like then it's like at least I have the NFT. Like I'm enjoying the the episodes. Like why do you even care? Like there's literally people rug pulling out there. Why are you persecuting like this project? So even when you
Exactly.
look at like when supposedly enforcement should have happened, nothing meaningful really happened because a lot of people got away with it. So we might as well just call it a Wild West. Accept it, know the rules to the game, and know that if you go out there, if you go in the trenches, it's literally wartime. So you have to be open again to all the upside, but also all the downside.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think that's the right approach at the end of the day.
There's people making life-changing money that day and then losing it the next day on Melania. I mean, we've seen that happen. Now, this is a podcast for the trenches, right? So, what advice would you give to the trenches, not the newbies, the trenches?
I gotta advocate for Web3 gaming, which has definitely lost some hype in recent times. Has always been kind of like on the cliff, and people saying, oh, this is a natural use case, but no gaming token has done super well as others. So I would say, people might have lost interest in the economic upside of this. But I have a bull thesis, and is that Web3 gaming has yet to have a catalyst event like it has happened with many others. For example, meme coins. You can argue that Trump wasn't even the catalyst event for meme coins, right? We had it with Doge back in the days. And the reason why Web3 gaming hasn't had a catalyst is because the way gaming itself as an industry operates, it's an industry that takes time. Games take a lot of time to be made, a lot of time to go to market, and even longer to actually get adopted, get a good fan base. And I think my prediction, I guess, is that the catalyst event, and I really hope, and I'm crossing my fingers about it, is that when GTA 6 comes out, they will have crypto enabled. If that happens, it's checkmate, and it's checkmate to a level that I think few comprehend. I mean, if you play GTA before, you probably understand it. But even if you had the amount of utility that can be baked in, the culture effect that this can have will be enormous. So I really hope that Rockstar actually comes through, and I hope they do it in their own way without any paid partnership or anything pushed or shoved down users' throat. I hope they enable crypto transactions overall. If they launch their own token, I'm happy. But I just the amount of microeconomies and economic potential that can just sparkle from that, I think it's enormous. So if that happens, watch and see all the gaming coins, and that again will open up. But I think this catalyst event will have to come from an already established franchise and already established big community, rather than a Web3 gaming emerging. At least that's my prediction.
I completely agree, because I think the more the more we build in Web3, the more we realize that we still need the approval of Web2, right? We still need people from Web2 to bring actual use cases, because right now in Web3, no matter what you do, you're not going to run to a project to do something that you can do in Web2, right? Because Web2 is so established in everything that you can survive perfectly fine without using Web3, right? But you cannot survive without using Web2. I think that's the biggest issue, and I completely appreciate where you're coming from, is that we need that boost from Web2, right? Web2 users, Web2 franchises to have that use case and to have that credibility, right?
Yeah, and also what we were saying about liquidity is the same thing on the liquidity side, right? The Web2 side of money, I guess, needs to be onboarded to Web3, and it's up to us, but definitely up to them, of course, to come in, right? So it's a marathon, although it might seem as this token has done 10,000x in 2 hours. It might seem that our industry, it's a very short attention span, but it's actually a marathon, and what we're building is a whole new type of infrastructure that hopefully will last even after we're gone. And I mean, personally, that's my mental model and the way I approach this industry since I joined. Build for the long term.
Great. Well, today we had Pigi from Taiko. Thank you very much for your time, Pigi. And
thank you, Jack. This was awesome.
It'll be fantastic to see you again. So this is Jack again from Degn Cast. Please like and subscribe and retweet if you like my content. More to come. Thank you very much.